Good morning, everyone. Today we're back with Henry Reed Inc. by Kate Robertson, pictures by Robert McCloskey. Lesson finished and page 32. Let's continue. You'll find raccoons, possum, and then deers back in these woods, Uncle Al said. Agony had been with us from the minute we left the house. Part of the time he trotted along at my heels, and part of the time he went exploring. While we were in the barn looking around, he went sniffing off through the high weeds. As we came out of the door, he let out a bay that scared me half out of my wits. In fact, I didn't know what it was. That's a beagle on trail or something, Uncle Al said. For a little dog, a beagle can't make a bigger noise than anything I know. Agony didn't go chasing off any place, but staying pretty much in one spot. We went out to investigate. He was circling around and around a big box turtle. That's a fine state of affairs, Uncle Al said. You're supposed to chase rabbits, not turtles. I don't know how you ever got so far enough your home to get lost if that's the kind of the game you chase. I picked up the turtle, which had drawn itself into its shell and as tight as a bank vault. He's a nice one, I said. I think I'll take care of him at home. I could have predicted that, Uncle Al said. Do you know what to feed him? Vegetables and berries, mainly, I said. Although turtles have certain kinds of grubs and slugs, they'll eat raw meat too. By the time you get through training him, I expect the farmers around him will have to shut up their beef for candlelight home at night, Uncle Al said. I think he was just kidding me. I took the turtle home and put him in the chicken yard. You're shooting about Pa, I would say, Uncle Al observed. One dog and one turtle. And you haven't been here 24 hours yet. By the time we've got to do something about this dog. Why? I asked, looking at Agony, who was busy investigating a big spider on the side of the chicken house. Well, you obviously belong to someone. He looks well fed and he's wearing a collar. It seems improbable for someone maybe quiet fond of him and be worrying about him. I know you'd like to keep him, but we ought to make him some effort to return him to his real owner. I could see what Uncle Al meant. Somebody else might like Agony just as much as I did. Although I doubted it, what do I think we should do? I asked. I guess the best thing is to put an advertisement in the paper. If his owner is worried about him, he'll probably be watching the lost and found section. Beagles are valuable dogs, I said. Someone who doesn't own him at all might claim him. That is a risk we'll have to run, Uncle Al said. However, it needn't be too much of a risk. The only reason the dog would have much value to anyone besides the real owner is that he might be a fine, well-trained hunting dog. You can write up an advertisement that doesn't stress his hunting abilities. I doubt if I need to bend the truth much. If the true owner wants him back, he'll investigate regardless of what we say. I'll write the advertisement, I said as we went back to the house. All right, you do what, and I'll write a note in the paper telling them to charge it to me. Uncle Al said, here's an old copy of the paper. You'll find some advertisements that you can use for models. I took the paper up to my room and read a dozen. One said that the owner of the property would have it back by paying for the cost of the advertisement. That seems reasonable to me. I don't see why a finder should lose money after he's gone to do trouble of finding something, saving it for a careless owner. This is what I wrote. Found one beagle, white with brown black marking, on Carter Road, night of June 22nd. Trained to chase turtles. Howls at night unless allowed to sleep in bedroom. Big eater. Owner can have by identifying and paying for this ad plus whatever dog food he has eaten. Princeton 36122. That seemed fairly accurate description. I went downstairs to show it to Uncle Al, but he wasn't around. An envelope was on his desk, addressed to Princeton Bugle, and his note was inside. I folded my advertisement and stuck it into envelope too, and sealed it. After lunch, Uncle Al suggested that we go for a ride. He wanted to show me something for Princeton area. You've done a lot of traveling, he said, and as we drove along. Probably a lot more than Mabel and I will ever do. You've been to a lot of places in Europe and a good many places in South America. I've forgotten just where all you have been. Anyhow, you've seen a lot, but I doubt if you've ever seen an area that is a nicer place to live than right here around Princeton. Travel is supposed to be broadening, and I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't a handicap to travel too much. It's kind of nice to spend a good many years in one spot and to get to know everybody in the countryside, to watch the community grow. The Princeton area is not only a wonderful place to live, but it was also a wonderful future. Right now, it's one of the research centers of the world, and it's growing all the time. My Uncle Al is in the insurance business, not life insurance, but fire insurance, liability insurance, automobile insurance, things like that. Naturally, he gets around and knows a lot about the business and around Princeton. He knew that everything and he proceeded to tell me. Uncle Al is big and heavy and slow, and he talks just the way he looks. He told me a lot more about Princeton than I wanted to know, and certainly a lot more than Aunt Mabel wanted to know, because she half went to sleep. But now and then he would say something interesting, and I'm sort of used to listening to a lot of talk to get an interesting fact once in a while. We have diplomats out to our house to dinner quite often, and if anybody can talk longer than a diplomat without getting to the point, I don't know who it is. Well, I think we'll leave it there. Okay, see you next time, guys. Bye.